Hey guys, I'm Dale from Consider Tech. Today we're going to be talking about the OnePlus 9 and OnePlus 9 Pro. What are my first impressions? Well, my first impressions are very good. I like the look of both of these phones. Neither of them look overly done or underdone. Like they don't look underdone like say a Pixel 5 does. It's a little bit kind of subdued. Like there's nothing really special about that phone. It also doesn't look very overly done. Kind of like an S21 Ultra or something like that, where they have the big camera and all that. It's just a very normal phone. There's nothing different about it. And I don't really mind the pricing of both of these phones, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So, specs. First, we're going to talk about the OnePlus 9, and then we're going to talk about the OnePlus 9 Pro. So, OnePlus 9 has a 120 hertz fluid display, which just stays at 120 hertz, or you can put it down to 60 hertz. There's no smart 120 hertz like they talked about in the presentation about the Pro. That's only on the Pro. And it has a flat 6.5-inch display, which personally I prefer flat displays over curved displays, but that's just me. It has Warp Charge 65. It is really fast way to charge your phone. Like you can see the battery going up in the percentage, like in real time. It is really cool. If you ever, just search up Warp Charge, battery charge time, whatever. It's really fast and it's really cool. But this also doesn't get the wireless Warp Charge 50. That's again only on the Pros. There's a 4,500 milliamp hour battery. Well, actually, there's actually two 2,200 milliamp hour battery. Well, it's actually like 2250, I think. 2,250. Anyway, you do the math. It's 2,200 milliamp hour batteries that charge at the same time. That's how Warp Charge is so fast. So it's putting all that power of 65 watts into technically two batteries to make one battery. Warp Charge 65 will charge your phone from 0 to 100% full charge in 30 minutes. But like I said, there's no wireless charge 50 here, so you just get regular wireless charging at 15 watts. So like same as your normal Samsung or whatever. It has a Snapdragon 888 chip, which seems to be normal chip for all new phones right now coming out. So nothing special about this phone in the chip department. Video at 8K 30 FPS in the high range, and has a 48 megapixel main camera. It also has a 50 megapixel ultra wide camera, but it does not have a telephoto. It actually has a monochrome lens, which is weird, and the telephoto is actually on the Pro, but the Pros, it's a weird thing that I'll talk about when we get to the Pros. From others that have had the phone already, like I've watched Marcus Brownlee's videos, and he's got 2 up now of the 9, and then separately of the 9 Pro. You can go watch that if you want a hands-on video of this phone. But apparently the ultra wide is supposed to be just as good or even a little bit better than the main camera, which is really cool, and I think all cameras should have been like that. I know what I'm filming on right now is my iPhone 11, and it really isn't. Like you can definitely tell the drop in quality when you go to the ultra wide, and that's why sometimes I don't even want to use the ultra wide unless I really have to, because it doesn't look that good than the regular main camera. But if they've made that work where it's the exact same, or even a little bit better, that's perfect. I think the ultra wide should be a little bit better just because you're having a wider angle. So to have more texture in that wide angle picture is a very good idea. They are really pushing this Hasselblad, which they've partnered with for the next 3 years. which is just right now for color calibration. And the camera app kind of looks like a Hasselblad camera. Like it's got an orange shutter button. The shutter noise is like a loud thump, just like a Hasselblad camera. And it says Hasselblad on the back, which some people could say looks bad. I know I've heard people say it looks bad. I don't mind it. It's kind of a whatever thing. It's just what they're going to do to market Hasselblad in their cameras. So it doesn't really matter. The colors this year are Winter Mist and Astral Black and Arctic Sky, which Winter Mist is more of like a silvery gray. Astral Black, of course, is like a very deep jet black. And then Arctic Sky is just a lighter blue. Then onto the OnePlus 9 Pro. So, the Warp Charge Wireless 50 is on the Pro and will charge your phone from 0 to 100% in 45 minutes. The Pro has a 6.7-inch curved display, which, like I said, at the OnePlus 9, I prefer a flat display. It's got also Fluid Display 2.0, which is a new display that fluctuates from 1 Hz to 120 Hz depending on what you're doing to save battery, which I think is actually really, really cool. But you cannot, I noticed you cannot put it at just 120. It's always either fluctuating or it's at only 60. You can't have it at just 120, which is weird. It has the same 48 megapixel main camera, 50 megapixel ultra wide as the regular 9, and the monochrome is the same also, but it adds a 3.3 times zoom telephoto, which is, if you're a camera guy, a reason to get the Pro. I still don't understand why they didn't put the telephoto on the regular one and just put the monochrome on the Pro. I don't get what they did there. It has the same Warp Charge 65, but like I said at the very beginning, or like I said at the beginning of these specs for the Pro, it adds Wireless Charge 50. Lastly, it adds HyperTouch, which is just a fancy name for their really fast touchscreen panel. It's supposed to have like no input lag, but we'll have to see how that works in practice, to be honest. Other than that, the battery's the same, the chip is the same, all that stuff is the same. And then colors for the Pro are Morning Mist, which I believe is a silver, Pine Green, and Stunning Black, which the Pine Green I think looks really good. It's very similar to the iPhone 11 Pro's green, which my dad has that phone, and I absolutely love that color. It's a really, really good color on a phone. So it's the same here. Prices for the regular 9 are $999 for the regular 9. And your only options are 8 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage in Canada. In the US, you have a choice between 8 gigs and 12 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage and 256 gigabytes storage. For the 9 Pro, though, it's $14.99, and your only options are that 12 gigabytes of RAM and the 256 gigabytes of storage. Again, in Canada, in the US, you have that choice of fluctuating between those two storage options and RAM options for the Pro and for the 9. So in Canada, and those are Canadian prices, it doesn't really make as much more sense because you can get it a lot cheaper. Like you can get a Pro with the 8 gigabytes of RAM and the 128 gigabytes of storage, and that's a really good phone in my opinion. But here you can't do that because it's a little bit expensive. Like $14.99 is a little bit expensive. The goods and the bads. So the camera quality looks really good. OnePlus always makes a decent camera quality. It's never like overly impressive or anything like say an S21 Ultra is, or iPhone 11 or iPhone 12 Pro Max or something like that. It's just very normalized, just kind of like a Pixel. It's very, very, very normalized. Although Pixels make really good photos for what they have, but that's on a different statement. The design isn't too bold either, which I like. It's not overly bold or anything. Like you could just get the new phone and no one's gonna overly notice that you got a new phone. I guess like the tech people will, but no one's gonna really notice that you got a new phone. Also, Oxygen OS is something that a lot of people like because it's similar to stock OS, and it's gonna be a big reason why people are gonna buy this phone. because of that Oxygen OS. Same reason why people buy Pixels. Also, charging is another big reason why people are gonna buy this phone, just because of how fast it is, and it's the reason why people have been buying OnePluses, forever now. Is because of that warp charge. That's a big thing that people like about OnePlus. But on to the bads. So, a really bad idea, that basically the only bad idea I have, is that camera stuff. The regular 9 only gets a monochrome instead of the telephoto, which, let's be honest, no one is going to use that 2 gigabyte it's a 2 megapixel monochrome. No one's going to use that 2 megapixel monochrome. You can use a filter and it'll do the same thing. Like, no one's going to use it. Everyone would have used a telephoto though. So they could have done that, and then that would have made the 9 even more enticing to buy, because it would have been cheaper. Also, so far the Hasselblad deal isn't really that big. In the future, it might be good, because like I said at the start of the video, it's a 3-year term. Like, so maybe in the future they're gonna do lots of stuff with the cameras, hardware-wise, but right now it's just software. So it's kind of like they're trying to make up for Pixel software stuff. That's what it seems like to me right now. And you have that logo on the back of your phone. So, if you're someone, also, do I recommend this device? Well, if you're someone like stock Android, if you're someone that likes fast charging, this is the best phone, of course, for you to get. And it's the same reason why they wanted that phone, like the OnePlus 8T and the OnePlus, all that stuff. All OnePluses before this. It's the reason why they wanted it. It's because of that charging and because of that OS. So now is no exception. But if you are a major camera person, if you need that Samsung S20 Ultra or Samsung S21, like, in general, to be honest with you, has a better camera for the price than this OnePlus does. And to be honest, it's even so close to say that even the Pixel 5 is probably going to have the same camera quality with less hardware than this OnePlus does, because the OnePlus only has 2 cameras, just like the Pixel 5 does. Yes, you're going to get that 888 chip instead of the cheap chip in the Pixel 5, and screen-wise and stuff like that. I understand that. But if your just main concern is cameras, I would just more recommend a Samsung if you want to go a little bit more expensive or the same price as the OnePlus. For better cameras, I suggest Samsung. And if you don't want that $999 price tag, that starting price of the OnePlus 9 regular, I suggest a Pixel 5, because they go for $800 Canadian, which is significantly cheaper than the OnePlus is. So, and for the best, for very stuff that, like, personally, that's all you need is the stuff that's in the Pixel 5. And then the OnePlus stuff is like, okay, yes, but then I might as well just go to a Samsung and get even better stuff. So it's kind of in the middle ground, and I think the OnePlus 9 is in a good spot. It's the OnePlus 9 Pro, that really isn't in a good spot, just because that Pro name isn't quite where it should be, in comparison to Samsung and all that. But yeah, that's all I have for this video. Check out the last video right there, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.